Hello, everybody, and welcome to another True Crime and Wine Time, where if you've got the corkscrew, we've got the time.
Oh, I like that. Hello. I don't need a corkscrew tonight.
I just made that up, and it was in my head. It sounded much better here than here.
Well,
but
I
yeah,
liked it.
hi everybody.
Hello,
How you doing?
everyone. I am good. I have
Um,
to tell you, Texas is hotter than hell right now. I bet hell's cooler than Texas.
for like 2 days, it was a beautiful like 74 to 76 here, and then today it popped up to like 83, and then by Sunday it'll be back to like 90 something, I think. And I want it to go back. I just want to go. Like, I know we're not going back is the chant, but I would prefer to go back to the quiet or the lower temperature, please. And thank you.
I think we were 107 or 108. And that's not feels
Is
like
that
temperature. That's actual temperature.
so? It's been a while since I've been in Texas. Hopefully not
It's
for
not.
long. But it's not dry, right?
It,
It's
well,
not like a
Austin used
dry.
to be drier, but now we've got more humidity. So we've got the humidity going
But
on.
then Double H showed up, and it wasn't anymore. I'm just.
You always make me laugh. Make me laugh.
It's the
I have to tell
only
you,
thing that I've got going for me.
I loved watching the video because I'm really excited about my new series, Dearest Mothers.
Oh my gosh, me too.
It's dark. And I didn't think there would be so many cases. I really didn't. I thought it would be
That's
much more like a short, limited series. It's not so short.
yeah.
There's a
That's
lot of bad
that's
moms.
yeah, that's kind of what. So like in my head, I know we're execution happy. We're death row happy here.
Mhm.
And then, I finished up writing and I'm recording the women on death row, and then we're going to be moving into juveniles on death row. And then when I finally get to the larger population of men on death row, I just looked to see how many were there currently. And the answer was over 2,000. And I realized that if I did 2 shows a week, like I will be doing for at least this one, I would have 21 and a half years of material. And that's ridiculous. So here is hoping that I can work ahead and then release, 4 to 5 of them a week. Because that would
'Cause I'll
be
be
the
dead
ultimate goal.
by 21
You
and
will
a half
not
years.
be.
I will be.
No, not.
I will.
Nope, you are immortal. And when you go, I'm going to Futurama you, put your head in a jar, and you're going to be able to talk forever right next to me.
Yeah, I will be. That would put me, what, 75? I don't math. I might need to get the calculator. I'm 54 plus 21. Okay, yeah, that's 75. I did good.
You done did good. Done did good. Well, I sure as hell hope everybody else is doing well tonight.
Yes.
I needed tonight. Last night reading the transcript stuff was good with the Sarah Boone letters. We had fun. A lot more interactive than it has been. And so that was good. But I am very excited for tonight. because our topic is one of your people.
Now, bless your heart.
Bless my heart.
I
Um,
almost went and pulled out my pearls and was going to wear them and dress up like a good Southern lady so I could clutch my pearls. And I decided it's too hot. I'm staying in this shirt because it's hot.
I don't blame you.
I could
I don't
pretend
blame
that I
you.
clutched my pearls.
There you go. There you go. Hey, everybody who just joined us, welcome in. Should we get into some stupid news?
We should.
Should I play the sting?
I love it.
All
I
right.
love the video
Stupid
because I
news
love
it
the little
is.
guy.
Oh, I know.
Just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think?
I like turtles. Really, sometimes I don't watch I don't watch the news.
Because we see this dude every day. I mean, every day.
I didn't make this kid pass out on my floor. People wanted to be here.
Oh, it's just like, dude, you get the best barrels ever, dude. Just
Customer out here, what's the best kind of firework to buy?
Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy?
Where are your parents?
All right.
I've
So
I like
Huh?
him. I like that kid.
Oh yeah. me too. So does Annie too, also known as AP Annie.
Yeah. Well, my
We've got AP
case.
Annie, AP Amy, and AP and producer Llama in the house.
Oh, we do. See, I haven't even looked. We do. You know, I guess we're not going to share what AP means for everybody since that announcement doesn't come out quite yet, but we can just let everybody figure it out.
It's yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Did I just dampen
Microphone.
your sparkle?
No, you did not dull my sparkle.
Okay.
However, this woman's sparkle has been dulled. This woman is from Tasmania, and Catherine Lee June, 58 years old, appeared in Hobart Magistrates Court on Monday, where she asked for an adjournment without a plea. She faces 3 charges under a Classifications Enforcement Act, including possessing a bestiality product between February 2022 and 2023. Why? Because she decided to have a sex act with a live fish on a boat.
You said fish?
A fish.
Okay.
I did. In fact, more specifically, a trout. Police allege the bestiality product was a video depicting, quote, sexual activity between Miss Lee and a brown trout. She has also, which sounds like a euphemism, but it's not. She has also been charged with 2 counts of making or reproducing a bestiality product during the same period. I think by product, they mean the video. I think the fish would take offense to that already. Offense. Yes. Afterwards, I'm sure there was a massive trout pout. No
I'm trying to
doubt.
figure out how to do my little trout lips.
Miss Lee was granted an adjournment until October. The woman's co-accused, 55-year-old Ashley David Hollum, faced court in May this year. Mr. Hollum has not entered a plea to his charges, which include 2 counts of making or reproducing a bestiality product and 3 counts of possessing a bestiality product relating to a video of alleged activity between Miss Lee and a trout. And all I have to say is, this is not what they mean by gone fishing.
I have to say, hearing the word bestiality, a fish never even popped into my little brain as who the animal would be.
It's okay, because it popped into her. You know what? Never mind.
Okay. Well, maybe she got into my watermelons. 2 tons of meth disguised as a watermelon seized at the border, valued at over $5 million.
Girl, that's the best That's the best transition ever. We've hit our peak right there. That is it.
We have.
That's it.
But guys, if you looked at these, you would have thought it was a massive shipment of pinatas. But they were meth melons.
Oh, really? They
were
were
made
meth
It
melons.
looked like watermelons, but instead contained, like I said, 2 tons of meth. And this was coming into the San Diego port. I mean,
So
that's a lot of.
So it was definitely a Southern girl who ordered these meth melons, right? I
It could
mean,
be.
who else is going to order watermelons that are? I mean, come on now. It's
I
certainly not coming from Massachusetts.
No, but just think if one got like separated from the shipment and it got wound up being sold as a pinata, and you're at a kid's party and they hit the pinata and all this meth comes out. I mean, that would not be
I'm gonna
good.
do an impression of Robin Williams doing an impression of somebody doing a pinata. Get your presents, and then all of a sudden, ring. That's a good question. It's a really good question. The world
Ooh.
wants to know.
Does he? Well, the company I work for, or my day job, we call what our product helps is the watermelon effect. So it's watermelon stuff all over. So that's kind of funny to think about people
That's
having
hysterical.
watermelons. Now I'm going to wonder if they have meth. But
It's
yeah,
true.
I think that the meth got to that lady, and that's why she was hanging out with the fish.
That's ridiculous. Yes, it is a little bit.
Now- I had a question about the fish real quick. What part of the
Yes,
fish
ma'am.
was she abusing?
I'm be honest with you. I don't see how the tail works because you got that fin.
Okay, that's
So
why
I'm
I'm like,
assuming head to dorsal because you don't want that fin going in either. So head
okay.
first. That is
Alrighty.
not what her mom meant by tackling any problem head first. Zoinks. Like zoink Scoob. And she said,
my
I would have gotten away with it if it wouldn't be for you meddlesome social media. So this one's not as stupid, but I think he's stupid. And this is about Andrew Tate because he's an idiot. A court in Romania's capital Thursday placed the divisive internet influencer. I don't like using the word influencer for this fella, Andrew Tate, under house arrest for 30 days as prosecutors investigate a sprawling new case that involves allegations of human trafficking of minors and sex with a minor. The Bucharest tribunal's decision comes a day after prosecutors detained 6 people, including Tate, who's 37, really hard to believe, and his brother Tristan, 36, after masked police raided 4 homes in Bucharest and nearby Ilfov County. Prosecutors had asked the court to remand the brothers in custody for 30 days. Tristan's been placed under judicial control, which typically involves geographical restrictions and reporting periodically to the police. The brother spokesperson, who, if that's your job, I am so sorry, responded to the decision by saying the judge denied prosecutors' request due to the brothers' exemplary behavior while previously under preventative arrest measures in a separate case, and that they firmly deny all the allegations against them. I'm sure they do. They're both former kickboxers, dual British U.S. citizens, awaiting trial already in Romania on a separate human trafficking case, along with 2 Romanian women. They were all indicted. They indicted all 4 of those people last year. However, in this new case, Romania's anti-organized crime agency, which could only be pronounced as DICOT, said it is investigating allegations of human trafficking, including the trafficking of minors, sexual intercourse with a minor, forming an organized criminal group, money laundering, and influencing statements. The alleged crimes date between 2014 and 2024. Great. They Yeah, the defendants used the coercive lover boy method to exploit 34 vulnerable victims who were forced to produce pornographic materials for a fee online, and that more than $2.8 million was generated, and it was kept by the defendants. So Tate, here's the thing. Tate's still on Twitter. He's got 9.9 million followers. He's misogynistic. He's into political conspiracies. He's been previously banned from all kinds of social media, but of course, he's been back on X. And so he's an idiot. So during the raids, they scoured the Tate brothers' large property near Bucharest. They seized 16 luxury vehicles, a motorbike, laptops, thousands of dollars in cash, luxury wallets, and data storage drives. Good luck, buddy, because I promise you are not smart enough to actually erase things off of those data drives.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I really wish they'd already be in jail so that none of this had to happen again. But here we are, right?
The fact that they were
we
out
are.
is a problem. It's even going to be worse.
Exactly.
If somehow they come back to the U.S. and, he runs for president.
At this point,
I mean, we let anybody run for president. So I won't get all political, but it just made me think. I think I need to say what
listen,
I'm
well, if anybody's ever done that whole app dating thing, swipe left, swipe right, I would imagine at some point you swipe, and then your finger goes the wrong way and you accidentally swipe right instead of left. I think that's what's happened recently. Somebody accidentally swiped right and they should have swiped left. Anyways, let's talk about today and what we're drinking, shall we?
I had to open it. I was at Costco with Double H, and I said, "Oh, I need to grab something for tomorrow night at Southern Girls." I was like, "Oh, what am I going to get?" So I got Costco Rosé. We will see what it tastes like because I don't know. We'll see.
You're doing better than me because I don't think I can even finish this glass. Because as you can see over here, fully transparent. Boxed wine, which actually boxed wine can be great. This actually was good when it was opened a year ago. However, this is not very good anymore at all. Also, that is quite awkward.
Remember, we're supposed to start trying to read out these comments.
So yes, Captain, that's right. Captain said,
"Go ahead."
Okay. Captain said I accidentally swiped up on a friend's boyfriend when I found their secret Tinder account. And apparently she says swiping up means super like.
Oh. Now, I've often wanted to ask Double H, hey, can we sit here and let me open a Tinder account and you just sit next to me and us just swipe through them together? Because I just want to see what it's like. I almost feel like I'm missing out because I have no idea what goes on these things.
Yeah, I think it's a lot like you could just sign up for a free Truth Social account. At this point, I think it's a dating app. I think that's
nope. Can't do it. Can't do it. Yes, Llama says,
man, well,
wine can go bad. Wine that's been open for a year should not be drank. I wouldn't cook with it either.
I didn't say it was a good choice. I wouldn't say it's a good choice. Anyways, it was good. Peter Vella Vineyards, it's not your fault. This delicious red has gone terrible. But I did bring it back up, but it's not wine. It's, truly hard seltzer. Feel free to sponsor us.
But Southern girls would drink that. So you can just be a Southern girl.
That's true.
And I even put
I have been known to get white girl drunk.
In a nice little bubble frou-frou glass so I could be a Southern lady.
I love it.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart. All right.
Well, are we ready to get into some crazy stuff?
Let's get into it.
Okay, now I need to remind everybody this episode contains graphic content, adult language, and may not be suitable for all listeners. Also, Teri might drop an F bomb, so be prepared. How about that? I made sure
And
we're covered.
drink
the
a
way
little.
Yeah, drink
There
a
you
little.
go.
Be fine. Be fine. So today I'm here to tell us about Judith Ann Neelley. She was born on June 7th, 1964. And somebody's going to at me, and I'm going to just say I'm going to try my best. Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Murfreesboro?
Murfreesboro. Who has a Tennessee accent?
Yeah, I don't know how to say Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I don't know, but that's the best I can
Yeah,
do.
here.
So she was born to a
Murfreesboro.
housewife. She was born to a housewife and a father who worked in construction. Now, Judith had 2 older siblings and 2 younger siblings, which means she was right in the middle. She had a pretty typical childhood up until her father was killed in 1974 in a motorcycle wreck. Guys, that's hard. After her father's death, her mother started inviting men over for sex because that's what a single mom does. In 1974, because remember, in 1974, women still needed their husband or their father's permission to get credit cards. So, and she was a housewife. She didn't have a job, so she was inviting men over for sex. So, I mean, not faulting her, but sadly, Judith, the life that she previously knew was over, which I think your life changes a lot anyway if a parent dies. But she met Alvin, who was 6 years her senior, which isn't bad, right? That's me and double H.
No, that's not.
But she was only 15 years old.
That's less okay.
And he was married and had children.
That is far less.
Yeah. He was married and he had children at the time. But he ended his marriage, left his children behind, and went off with Judith.
What a winner.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, he's a loser, right? Now, it is said that Judith found Alvin's criminal lifestyle exciting. It turned her on and she wanted to be a part of it.
There are parallels between our cases accidentally.
So,
are
you ready? Because Judith became pregnant at the age of 16.
Okay. All right.
And you know what? I'm going to just say I must not do math very well. He was more than 6 years older, because if she was 16 when she got pregnant, she married him and he was 27. That's 11 years older, not 6.
I mean, listen, to each their own. If you find love and they're older, great.
16.
However, right. That's what I'm saying. Like, at that point, it stops being me saying you do you.
Right. And that's why my next comment is, hello, what the fuck? Didn't anyone see a problem with this? That's great.
No, not in Tennessee. Oh, man.
Yeah. So now, right after getting married and while still pregnant, Judith and Alvin decided to commit an armed robbery, as one does, right? Judith was arrested the day after the robbery while trying to cash a stolen check. Steal a check, so now we're going to cash it, right? But she was only 16, so the courts put her into the custody of the Rome Youth Development Center. So they went easy on her because she was pregnant and 16. And just 2 days later, she gave birth to twins.
Oh my gosh.
She committed an armed robbery as she was literally about to drop 2 kids. I mean,
she said, strap in. I'm making all the use of the time I've got before you come out.
I'm like, has she not heard about nesting?
No. She thought this was a great way for her water to break.
Yeah, I guess. But the twins, of course, were immediately removed from her care and were placed with Alvin's mother, which I don't know Alvin's mother. I'm glad the kids didn't go into the foster system, but your son's 27 and you didn't do such a good job with him.
All I can think
Right.
of every time you say his name is Alvin. From
Well,
Alvin and
I
the
thought
Chipmunks.
about that because I bet she screamed that a lot. And guys, I'm sorry, my nose is dripping because of my allergies. Now, Alvin was sentenced to 5 years in prison for his part in the robbery and check fraud. Guys, 5 years for armed robbery doesn't seem like a lot to me. Armed means you have a
No.
weapon, right?
Well, I mean, I've got 2, so
You've got 2 weapons.
I got 2 arms. I'm
Mm,
armed.
okay,
It didn't play well.
As excited, I missed it, but that's okay. You're sweet.
Really, you probably are better for it.
Or at this point, I would say, "Aw, he's so pretty."
Bless
In
your
my little
heart.
Southern voice. No, Judith was in the care of the Youth Development Center while Alvin was in prison. But the two wrote letters back and forth. In Judith's letters, she told Alvin about the abuse she was suffering and how she was sexually assaulted, which is horrifying.
Ugh.
Alvin promised
Yeah.
Judith that they would get revenge for what was being done to her once he got out. So Judith was released from the youth center in November of 1981 and moved in with Alvin's parents and her twins. Mhm. Yeah,
That sounds like a sitcom.
I know. I'm like, Alvin was released in April of 1982, so the two were reunited. Reunited, and it feels so good.
You know,
Okay, sorry.
that sitcom 2 Men and a Baby. It's like 2 felons and some twins.
Well, she wasn't a felon because remember, they put her in the youth center.
2. Yeah, you right.
Criminals?
I got nothing.
I know. Okay. So now remember, he got out in April. And then in September of 1982, Ken Dooley, who was employed at the youth center where Judith had been held, was at home with his wife when the phone rang. Cherie answered the call, and on the line was a female, same female who just called a couple of days before asking for Ken. I know all of us women are going, same woman calls a second time. Yeah, we're going to have to throw down. Anyway. But when Ken picked up the line, he heard a male say, "You've screwed the last girl you're going to screw, and you're going to pay." Ken tried to get the call and tell them their name, but they hung up. So it was a female.
That's not how that works.
And when he got on the line, the female handed the phone to the male. Now, Ken hung up the phone and went in to check on his sleeping kids before going to bed. While checking on the children, he heard popping sounds that he thought was a car backfiring. But then he heard his wife scream, "Someone is shooting at the house!" Ken ran
Someone
outside.
shooting at the house.
Ken ran outside, but the car drove off. Ken and his wife called the police, who responded and collected the bullet casings and talked to neighbors, but could not find anyone who saw the car with the shooter. Now, Ken did what a responsible employee should do. He told his employer what happened the next day, just in case it was related to where he worked. And they told him just to keep it to himself and not upset the rest of the staff.
He was honest, and they go, shh,
exactly.
Don't speak.
I'm like, it doesn't work that way. Not when you're working in that kind of environment.
No.
Well, just 2 days later, Linda, another employee at the youth center, was at home when the phone rang. Her husband answered, and a female asked if Linda was home. When Linda picked up the phone, the caller hung up, thinking it was just a typical prank call. The couple went about their nightly business. Linda started preparing a roast for the next day's dinner while her husband went off to take a shower. Guys, I just have to confess, I finished the script and made tweaks to it this weekend, and then I cooked a roast because I really wanted one after talking about it. And it was really good. So while preparing the roast, what?
Oh, I was saying you read that sentence and I was like, I really want to go take a shower. So
I mean,
you make the roast and I took the shower.
Well, typical man. While preparing the roast, she heard the phone ring, and at the same time, someone started knocking at the back door. So she was trying to decide, do I answer the phone or the door? So Linda looked outside the window and saw flames overtaking their carport. But outside of the back door, she saw a young boy knocking. But she decided to go ahead and answer the phone.
What?
It was her neighbor calling to tell her she had just seen someone throw a bomb at the house. So I just have to tell you, somebody's knocking on my door, my phone's ringing, and I see flames outside of my house. I'm not touching the phone. I'm grabbing that little boy and taking off running, but that's just me.
Especially since it was like probably a rotary dial with one of those long twirly cords. You know, for those of you playing the young game, there used to be cords.
Oh, yes. But when the police arrived, the boy told the police that he had seen a brown car with white or silver stripes speed off after the bomb went off. He told the officers that there were two people in the car, one a man and one a lady. Now, while being questioned, the phone rang again. And when she answered it, a female said, I'm calling about the shooting at Ken Dooley's house last night and the attempted firebombing of your house tonight. And guess what? You will both be dead before the night is over.
I want to play a game.
And just remember, Ken didn't tell anybody at work, so nobody could be warned. So Linda did the right thing. She immediately called Ken and asked about the shooting. The two could not figure out who would want to hurt them. And the police had been listening to Linda's call with Ken, and when she hung up, they played a 911 call that had come in. The caller was calling about the shooting and the firebomb and said that they were because of the sexual abuse she had suffered while at the youth home.
That brings your suspect to here.
Yes. Now, neither Ken nor Linda could identify the caller's voice, and the case went cold.
What?
It went cold.
They know what they did.
Maybe. The couple then decided to head to Macon, Georgia, as Judith, and I should say Judith and Alvin, headed to Macon, Georgia, as Judith was not finished getting her revenge. On the way to Macon, they stopped and purchased liquid Drano and liquid plumber, along with syringes. Syringes. Yeah. So Judith wanted to get her revenge against one of the security staff members from the youth center, but was unable to meet up. So the couple returned back to Rome, Georgia. So luckily, it didn't happen. So dude probably lived. However, on September 25th, 1982, Judith lured 13-year-old Lisa Ann Milliken away from the Riverbend Mall where she had been with a group of girls enjoying a day out. And when Lisa didn't return to the meeting spot, the girl chaperone grew concerned and called the police. The police, as they always do, initially thought Lisa had run away. So the reason there was a girl chaperone is because she had been sent to a girls' home, not because she was a problem teenager, but because her home was not suitable for her to live in due to the abuse she suffered at home. So they put her there instead of into the foster system. But the police searched the area for Lisa, but they did not find any trace. Several days later, the police received a phone call telling them to go to Little River Canyon in Alabama and that they would find Lisa Ann Milliken where she had been left. The police searched the area the caller gave, but they were unable to find anything, and they assumed it was a sick joke. So, interestingly enough, the lady who called the police station also called the local news station with a tip about a girl who ran away from a girl's home and that she had been killed by a female juvenile officer from the girl's home, and that Lisa's body was in Little River Canyon in Alabama. The caller told the reporter that Lisa had been shot and then hung up. So the reporter went to the police station with the tip she had received they confirmed, hey, yeah, we got that same prank call. They did nothing. So the next day, DeKalb County Police in Alabama received a call saying, if you want to know where the girl's body is, I will tell you. She then told the officer that if they went to the canyon where the power lines go across, you will find a body with a bullet in it. And then the caller hung up. Guys, I'm going to just tell you, these cops really need to, So the DeKalb police did do the right thing. They called in the state troopers and they went to the canyon. And at the canyon, one of the officers kind of looked over the edge down into the canyon and he saw the body of a young girl. So Lisa Ann Milliken was found. She had been shot in the back, but also had puncture wounds in her neck. Not far from where her body was discovered, police found a hand towel and syringes wrapped inside a pair of bloody jeans.
So I want to sum up here. Judith has suffered abuse at this home. And so to get back at the officer or whoever, she abducted a child around the same age she was, probably, tortured and killed her.
Yeah.
Jesus. Tortured and killed her to prove a point?
Oh, it gets worse.
Oh, boy.
It gets worse. So, yeah. Now, DeKalb police called the Rome police because Rome did nothing. And then they realized that the lady had called both police stations and the news station was the same person. And they somehow connected the calls to the shooting at Ken's house and the firebomb at Linda's. And that led them to believe that the Rome Youth Center was the common denominator. Duh. I mean, it's like, hello. Plus, she tried to frame.
Here's your sign.
I know. Like, she tried to frame another officer. Hello. Are you idiots? Have another donut. Anyway, they decided they needed to look into the females. that had recently been released from the center who might be angry. Now, while they were investigating the girls from the center, they got the results back from the syringes, which showed they had contained liquid drain cleaner.
God.
Yeah. Can you imagine? I hope they shot her first.
No.
I hope, but it gets worse. While looking at the girls from the youth center, the police narrowed it down to an 18-year-old who got released and they thought could be angry enough to commit these horrific crimes. Judith Neelley to the stage, please. Judith Neelley to the stage. Now, guys, hold on. Lisa's autopsy results showed that she had been tortured, raped, and then killed. So they didn't just shoot her and then inject her with syringes. They also tortured her and raped her. So the police began searching for Judith. So while searching for Judith, they received a call about a woman trying to convince young girls to go off driving with her. Thankfully, the young girl who alerted police had declined to get in the woman's car and went off on her way. Thank God, right?
Stranger mother truck in danger.
But not long after, Janice Chapman and her fiance, John Hancock, yes, his name is John Hancock. Does he do his John Hancock? Anyway.
He definitely has a
didn't-
signature, that's for sure.
Yeah. They were walking home when they were approached by a woman who said she was lonely and just out driving around. She convinced the couple to get in the car with her.
I am so lonely. I have nobody to call my own. Okay.
So get in my car. So now, once Janice and John got into the car, Judith contacted a male on the CB named Knight Rider. Okay, guys, I got to stop you. Just a second. We're going to get to Knight Rider. But do you remember CB radios?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
my mom, we had one in our home, and then my parents had them in the car. And all of our family had handles. I mean, my mom was LCC for Lady Coffee Cup. And my dad was Broken Arrow. My brother was Little Cooney, and I was Sweet Thunder.
So that's so here's the thing. I think in Texas, you guys literally had CB radios. Up here, folks had CB radios, and like from where I kind of grew up in different places, but they like had them ironically. Like, let me just turn them on and see if I can catch somebody talking, but not like to actually do anything with them. Captain said CB radios interfered with her high school's intercom system, and it was hilarious.
I mean, my mom got to know some of the truck drivers that she talked to on the CB radio. They would meet at Denny's on Friday and have coffee together. They would like chat. And I'll never forget one time we were traveling up to Corpus Christi, and my mom was on the CB, and they all heard that LCC was driving. All of a sudden, these trucks would drive by, and they're like, "Oh, I see you, LCC," and they would wave. And it was like, now that I'm older, and I know that some people who drive 18-wheelers maybe do bad things, but it was pretty cool. So it was my version of the first cell phone. But we'll get back to my Southern girl. So when Judith was talking with Knight Rider, and all I could think about was Hasselhoff was hot back then. He was hot when he had kids. Do you not agree?
Oh, it's not that I don't agree. You were talking about truckers and being dangerous, and I did a quick Goog. And apparently FBI Highway Serial Killings Initiative estimates long-haul truckers are behind an astonishing 850 murders. So you're not wrong.
Yeah, because you don't have to do criminal background checks.
Nope.
For driving.
Nope. Real easy to have a mobile torture chamber.
Yeah. So, but she was talking with Knight Rider on the CB, and she asked if they could all hang out. The four met up, and then the men decided to get in one car and the ladies in the other, and then follow each other. The four decided to go look for some moonshine and to find a place to party.
We're going to have a real hoedown.
They were going to
Judith, get off the floor.
Now, John needed to go to the restroom, so the two cars pulled over. And while this was happening, Judith restrained Janice in her car. And while John was going to the restroom by the side of the road, Knight Rider pulled out a gun and shot him. And Knight Rider and Judith each jumped into their cars and took off. Now, luckily for John, he was not killed. He was able to flag down a truck and was taken to the hospital. And the police met John at the hospital to get his story. And they were somewhat skeptical of his story. But they're like, okay, I'll do my job and take the report anyway.
How hard is it just to try to believe? Why would somebody make that up?
Exactly. It's not like we had Criminal Minds on TV back then.
No.
You know. So, but the next day, John went to the police station, and as he was walking by a desk heading to where he was going, he heard an audio tape being played, and he stopped and he said, "Hey, That's the woman last night who was with us when I got shot. He had recognized her voice. And then when he met with a sketch artist, he was able to give enough information that made the two composites. And a couple of days later, the police showed John a photo lineup, and John was able to identify Judith, and Knight Rider was Alvin Neelley.
Alvin Knight Rider Neelley.
Alvin!
Alvin!
Okay, Dave. I just hear Double H in the background going, "We need to talk. It's like bullshit. We need to talk." And he's on the phone with somebody. Oh, well, but the police obtained an arrest warrant for the couple. Now, on October 9th, police went to a motel and they were able to arrest Judith. However, they did not tell her she was being arrested for kidnapping. Instead, they told her she was being arrested for passing bad checks.
Also true.
But guys, guess what? Judith was pregnant when they arrested her. So she was out doing all the robberies right before she had a baby. She's pregnant again.
Robberies, murders. This is a great
She was
environment.
arrested on hot checks. Her not so smart husband showed up to visit her in jail and was arrested. They set him up and he fell for it.
Do I need to play the stupid news sting again? Because I feel like I need to play the stupid news sting again.
I'm like, dude, what? You don't go anywhere near a police station when you've just committed murder, right? Now, the police searched the couple's motel rooms, the car, and the family members' houses where they stayed sometimes and hung out because police were still searching for Janice. However, all they found were guns, handcuffs, and their CB radios.
Ugh.
Now, during Judith's interrogation, police said she was cold-hearted and showed zero emotions, but she admitted to picking up Janice and John and to shooting John. Then she went on to describe in detail the torture that she did to Janice and then confessed that she shot her multiple times. Yeah. I mean, she described the brutal sexual assault and torture that she made Lisa go through before being killed. Now, during Judith's police questioning, she told police that her two kids were in the car with her along with Lisa when she did this to Lisa. Did you hear me? I mean, like, what the actual, right? I mean, you take two kids with you, your twins are in the car as you brutally sexually assault a woman and kill her. I mean, that's some serious, I don't even know what you call that.
Childhood trauma. It's serious childhood trauma.
I mean, now when it came time for Judith's trial for the murder charges for Lisa Ann Milliken, her story changed. And of course, she blamed everything on her husband. It is reported that while on the stand, Judith laid her head down and it sounded like she was crying. She's pulling a Jodi Arias. However, when the judge told her to lift her head up and face the court, there was zero tears.
Yep.
So
do a little shoulder movement.
Yeah.
A little sniffing.
Yeah. So, yeah. The jury found Judith guilty and she was sentenced to death. Judith was only 18 and was the youngest woman at the time sentenced to death. However, this was later overturned and she was sentenced to life in prison without parole. And she was sent to Alabama for her crimes there, and she pled guilty and was sentenced to life without parole there. In 1999, the governor commuted Judith's sentence to life with the possibility of parole. I mean,
come again?
Yeah. The family was in an uproar, and so was the community. Because why? But she was
Yeah.
eligible for parole in 2018, and parole was denied. She was again eligible in May of last year, but her parole was denied, and she remains in prison. Her next eligible is May of 2028, which I have to tell you guys, the fact that they're even holding parole hearings for her is damaging the families so much and causing them so much more pain. Because here's the thing, if she was granted parole, there is still a warrant for her for the life sentences she was given for the other cases. So why even do a parole hearing when she's just going to go to another state and go to prison?
It boggles the mind, doesn't it?
I
Boggles the
don't
mind.
understand why you're re-traumatizing the I mean, to me, it's insane. Now, I will say, most of us do crazy things when we are 18, and especially for love. But I want to publicly announce, I can promise you, murder and torture never crossed my mind for love, for anything.
I mean, maybe afterwards when it went bad, sure,
No,
but not for it.
not even then, because
Oh,
I
okay.
known from a very young age that I do not look good in orange, and I would not do well in prison because I would become Bertha's bitch. I mean, so no,
We
never.
could be so unlucky. We should be so unlucky.
But that is my case.
That
I
is
spared
a
y'all
story.
the details of the torture, because guys, it was horrific. It was as dark as this Dearest Mother stuff. And she was 18. And what I left out, because I was hoping somebody would ask, they are pretty sure she lied about the accusations and what she told Alvin. Nothing ever happened to her. She just wanted to get even with them.
You know what's funny? Not anything that you just said, but Alvin's face is funny. Alvin Neelley, if you look him up, exactly how you'd imagine him to look. He is like a C-list John Wayne Gacy.
He is. He
Truly.
is. But yeah, something was wrong with her. Something was wrong with her.
Yeah. Yes.
And her family did not support her. They did not stay in touch with her. They said, peace out. And guys, I do not blame them. You can love them and still care for them and hope they get everything they deserve while they're in prison.
Well, mine there are parallels in mine. However, it is a little lighter, and
okay, good.
I started it with a joke. And I think you'll like the joke. Actually, I think a lot of folks in here will like the joke. Anyways, so I'm covering Toni Jo Henry, and the script I've titled "Southern Charm with a Murderous Twist." And so here's the joke. So a girl from the South and a girl from the North were seated side by side on the train. The girl from the South, being friendly and all, said, "So where are y'all from?" The Northern girl said, quite full of herself, mind you, "From a place where they know better than to use a preposition at the end of a sentence." The girl from the South sat quietly for a few moments and then replied, "So, where are y'all from, bitch?" There's my joke. Take that one to the bank.
Okay, that one was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was pretty
my
good.
accent was crap, but here we are. Thank you very much.
And I thought about pulling out my Southern girl accent, and I decided I wasn't sure if y'all could handle it, and I didn't think I could do it for the entire time, because I actually took classes how to get rid of my accent, and bringing it back scares me because what if it don't go away again and I'm stuck with it?
It could. You might be stuck with it. You might be stuck with it. But you know what? It's that charm. People love that down home stuff. Listen, Magnolia is a huge brand right now, and there's a reason for it.
That's right.
Well, all I'm saying is after this case, I feel like that joke could be a true story. And if you ask me if I knew anything about Toni Jo Henry before I picked her to cover here, the answer would be no. Nope. Had no idea who she was. Never once did I come across her name. And it's been at least 8 years since I've been embroiled in true crime. And seeing as though I'm 52 scripts complete on Women on Death Row, this ended up being pretty on brand for me this week. Toni Jo Henry was only 24 years old when she became the first and only woman to die in the electric chair in Louisiana.
How do I not know her name?
That's what I was saying. What's ridiculous about it, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but other than everything else, is that the chair wasn't even permanent. It was on loan to the Calcasieu Parish Courthouse. It's like somebody got it on layaway.
Borrowed electric chair.
Yes, I do have a very brief section in here where I talk about the Louisiana electric chair, and the death row inmates had a nickname for it, which was, and by the way, Sparky's, Sparky's fine, whatever, but they call this electric chair Gruesome Gertie. Yep. And
now,
honestly, I'm more scared of Gertie than I am of Sparky. So
wasn't Drew Barrymore's character's name Gertie in E.T.?
Oh, I think so.
And they used to make fun of her,
sure was.
and they would call her Gross Gertie and Gruesome Gertie. That is funny.
Mama Teri just gifted somebody a membership. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mama Teri.
We surely appreciate it. And let me take a look in the chat on Julie Martin. Julie.
Nice.
Welcome to the show. And you've got yourself a nice month. So yay.
A nice month. You know what
we forgot
to do? And we'll do it before we leave. We should maybe share with people about the new stuff coming to members with memberships and some of the fun stuff we're going to do. That. Yeah, we forgot about that.
Okay, hold on one second. One moment. I'm writing a note.
I guess that's a sheep. That's not a jasper. That was a sheep or a lamb. I don't know what that was. Hold on. Guys, my Aura ring just told me bedtime is approaching. If you want to prepare yourself for a great quality sleep, now's the time to start winding down your body and mind and get off all electronic devices.
First off, you don't know me. And second off, I'm about to wind you up. So let's get into it, shall we? Annie Beatrice McQuiston, later known as Toni Jo Henry, was born on January 3rd, 1916 in Shreveport, Louisiana. Her early life was marked by hardship and instability. She was the fifth of 6 children in a poor family. Her father, Robert McQuiston, struggled with alcoholism, which only compounded the family's difficulties. He was abusive, while her stepmother was indifferent to it. She had a stepmother because her mother passed away when Toni Jo was just 6 years old, and that left the children to be raised because the stepmom was indifferent, primarily by their father. So, real positive place to grow up, huh? And the loss of her mother, obviously, we talked about this earlier, deeply affected Toni Jo because it was basically an environment of neglect post her mom's death. As a child, Toni Jo generally described as a pretty and lively girl, but the absence of a stable home led her to rebel at a very early age. She dropped out of school during her teenage years, and she sought escape from her difficult home life. I don't blame her.
I was excited.
I wouldn't want to be there.
No blame there.
Yep. She, by the age of 13, she had run away from home and was working in the Shreveport red light district, where she quickly fell into the life of sex work at 13.
I never knew
Hmm?
that there was a red light district in Louisiana. I mean, I know in New Orleans there's a sex strip, but was it called the red light district?
I mean, it could just be my ignorance and just calling it that.
No, I mean, there is a sex street, but I'm going to have to give that a goog. So you keep talking.
Okay. The harsh realities of this lifestyle pushed her further into a world of crime and addiction. By her late teens, she had become a habitual user of drugs, including morphine, which only deepened her descent into the life of crime and desperation. Now, it's not surprising that this addiction was the case. In the 30s, morphine was a medical treatment for pain, and at one point, morphine was even thought to treat opiate addiction and alcohol addiction. And all I can say to that is, nope, absolutely not.
And just so you know, you did not make it up. There in New Orleans, Louisiana, was the city's red light district from 1897 to 1917.
Oh, but this was like 19, the number. 1929.
They still referred to it, even though it was technically illegal. So.
Oh, okay. Well, Toni Jo's life took a significant turn when at the age of 20, she met none other than Claude Cowboy Henry.
Oh, Claude.
Cowboy Henry was a handsome and charismatic man with a rough background. He was actually a former prize fighter who had become involved in criminal activities, as we are often hearing about prize fighters doing, and that included armed robbery. Now, despite his criminal past, guess what? Toni Jo fell deeply in love with Claude. And I think it primarily has to do with the fact that and she genuinely loved him, and he probably did her, but he provided her with affection and protection, and she didn't have that. And so, he gave her exactly, what she had been looking for, whether she knew it or not. The couple married shortly after meeting, and for a time, it seemed that Toni Jo had found a sense of stability. She said, "No one ever cared about me before Cowboy Henry. That guy is the king of my heart. I remember the day I told him I was a cokey, and then the look on his face. He got the drug monkey off my back."
A cokey?
Yeah, a cokehead.
I know, but I've not ever heard it called a cokey. Okay.
Double H is having a hell of a conversation.
Yeah, he is having a very loud conversation. I hope y'all are all enjoying hearing it.
Noise,
was that enough subtle hits?
Noise isolation and suppression. It'll be fine. Yeah. So
he went to
Toni Jo and Claude. Toni Jo and Claude. Am I pretending? Sam said, she asked, am I pretending to be Reese Witherspoon from Sweet Home Alabama? Let me tell you what, if I did even a passing Southern accent and you're telling me it sounded like Reese Witherspoon, I will be with my fork and excited.
I was to say, you just made JT's night.
I sure did. Or she sure did. So their relationship was intense. It was passionate, but also fraught with danger. Cowboy was 26 years old at the time. They were wed in Sulphur in November of 1935. They got their marriage license at the Oh, hold on. Wait a second. I had the pronunciation. I even wrote it out because it makes no sense. Calcasieu.
Did good job.
It is spelled Have you heard? You knew this one? You knew this?
I did, because you
that
got to
sound?
remember, my family's
Okay,
from
okay.
Louisiana, and I know a lot of the
That's right.
parishes.
That's right. Okay, so Calcasieu Parish Courthouse. And that's right. Calcasieu Parish Courthouse. And if you remember, that's the exact same location where she was executed. So how dark and poetic is that?
Yeah, well, and I have to ask, I also never knew that we executed people at the courthouse in the electric chair. What happened to doing it at the
Yeah,
prison? Because that's a lot of mess to clean up.
Yeah, I'll hit on that kind of near the end here. So Claude's criminal activity soon caught up with him, and he was arrested and sentenced to 50 years in prison for his role in a robbery. Toni Jo was devastated by his incarceration and became obsessed with finding a way to free him. And it's said that during his sentence hearing, Toni Jo yelled out, "Those bastards got my man!" So her love for Claude drove her to plan a desperate and dangerous scheme to break him out of prison.
That's love.
It's something. On February 14th, appropriate, 1940, Toni Jo, along with an accomplice named Archie Burke, set out on a plan to rescue Claude from the Huntsville State Penitentiary in Texas. That's where he was being held, in Huntsville.
I've been there.
To the penitentiary?
I have. So
Who'd you date?
Huntsville,
Who'd you date there?
I didn't date anybody there. My sister-in-law was a probation officer there, and my brother, at one point when he first joined the DPS department, that's where they lived. And they also have a museum by there, and you can go and see Old Sparky, and you can see all of the stuff. And you can take tours.
I'm assuming that is the... Well, no, that's not the same chair. But yeah, a lot of people died in that chair.
A lot of people died in that
Yeah.
chair. But yeah, so I've been there. But no, I didn't date anyone. Sorry.
To fund this mission, they decided to steal a car and any money they could acquire along the way. Now, Toni had good intentions, I guess, at least as far as romance goes. What she didn't have really, and it's not that she wasn't intelligent, she just didn't have this level of intelligence to pull this off. And it's a whole nother level. And this was from the get-go. Who am I here?
Guys,
Is that
Jasper opened the back gate, and my dogs and my goat just came in the house. But I have to let you continue, and I will be right back because I have dogs running around.
Old McTerry had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. So, Toni had good intentions, everyone. At least as far as romance goes. But what she didn't have was the smarts to pull it off. She wasn't, let's say, efficient. The first thing that she did, you missed nothing because I actually accidentally repeated 3 sentences. So you missed nothing.
Double H goes, "Damn it! How did he do that again?" He can unlock the gate. We have to put a lock on it. A combination lock, because he can open it.
I have Vamos. Thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. That is so nice of you.
That is very nice
Let's
of
see
you.
here. I'm going to read off. Let's see. We've got Bleach My Brain, Casey Kowalczyk, Elizabeth Miller, Debbie Blair, and Aaron Patterson. You all were gifted memberships by Avamos. Thank you very much for that. We surely appreciate it. Certainly getting us off on the right hoof.
Yeah. Oh.
So it is raining memberships. So the first thing that she decided to do was pay 2 boys to get guns for her. Okay. They stole plenty of guns from a store in Beaumont. But they only stole the correct ammunition for one of them. Not not great. Miss TJ, thank you so much. Miss TJ says, I love goats and dogs. This is a great channel. I am biased. I agree. You're in good company, Miss TJ.
You are in good company. I apologize that it startled me so much. Double H forgets that you have to put the lock on the locked gate because the goat is smart enough to lift up. It's a wrought iron fence gate. He lifts it and pulls it with his mouth and opens it. Even my 11-year-old granddaughter has problems with it.
So Toni Jo also had a chance. Remember, she wanted money. She was going to get guns. She's going to steal a car. She had a chance to hijack a Lincoln Zephyr, but she passed on it. No idea why, but later they were walking back past the honky tonks on the Louisiana side of the Sabine River. And fate led them to be picked up by one Joseph P. Calloway, who was kind-hearted, unsuspecting. He was a traveling salesman who was headed to Texas to visit his wife. So, good man, that Joe Calloway.
I have a relative named Joe Calloway.
Might want to look into that one.
I gotta make a note.
So Calloway offered the pair a ride, unaware of those criminal intentions they have. During the drive, Toni Jo and Burke overpowered him. Calloway offered her money, but damn it, Toni Jo wanted the car, the vroom vroom. She wanted the vroom vroom. At gunpoint, they forced him into the trunk. Then they drove to a field with a couple of haystacks, and it was far to the south of Lake Charles. There, they ordered Calloway to strip down to his underwear, which was an act meant to humiliate him. I mean, come on, you don't got to do that, but they did it. And then Toni Jo shot Calloway in the head with a .32 caliber revolver, killing him instantly. Afterward, they hid his body in a haystack in a nearby field and stole his car, continuing on their way as if nothing happened. The duo eventually arrived in El Dorado, Arkansas on the morning of Valentine's Day, 1940. They went over to where Burke said the bank they intended to rob was located, because that's what they were doing. When they were getting there, they were robbing a bank. Burke said, I know where this bank is. We're going to do this one. They went over there, but here's the thing. There was no bank. And Toni Jo was pissed.
There was no bank.
She was rightful pissed.
Well, then why did they go there?
Burke made up the entire story about the bank. Why? Because he needed to get a ride to Arkansas.
Okay, I like Burke. I like Burke, except for the killing parts, but that's funny.
I was going to say, I think it's safe to say he got more than he bargained for, but here we are. So, while encamped in Arkansas, the two fought. Toni Jo said Burke wanted to leave. He grabbed all the guns, put them in his hat box, which is a very 1940s phrase that I never thought I would say. Toni Jo said she pistol whipped him because of this, which either did or did not happen. I can't confirm that. But Burke left, and he took the car that Toni Jo wanted so badly with him. Toni Jo's left without a car, and Burke eventually abandoned the car in Beaumont.
He didn't do very well.
No. He eventually abandoned the car in Beaumont, Texas. Toni Jo headed back to Shreveport in the back of a Greyhound bus, and I think a guilty conscience was weighing. One of my favorite books is Crime and Punishment, because it talks about guilty consciences and the effects they have on, mental and physical state. Love it. Not in high school when I read it. It was Crime and Punishment then, but now it's fine. Anyways, she reunited with her aunt, Emma Holt. And this was 1940. Belle asked, what year was this? 1940. She reunited with her aunt, and she said, I shot a man. Okay. Cool. But here's the problem. she forgot that her Uncle George was a captain in the Louisiana State Police. Oopsie!
And Aunt Emma tells husband everything. I bet she.
Aunt Emma called
Oh,
Uncle
she
George. She sure damn did.
He gonna get in trouble.
And Uncle George showed up. And Uncle George said he could help her if she turned herself in, and the gig was up. Toni Jo was arrested February 20th, 1940 in Shreveport. Burke was captured separately and quickly confessed to his role in the crime, implicating Toni Jo as the mastermind. Now, it's hard to prove a murder if there ain't a body, right? So, John Jones, another state police captain, also a man with a very made-up name, drove Toni Jo to the same place in which she killed Calloway. The problem was everything looked similar, right? It's like, which I think is very racist because not all fields look the same, okay? There are some fields are different. There's some high fields, low fields, cornfields, wheat fields. It's different.
Nope. If it's a rice field and it's in Texas or in Louisiana, they all flat and they all look the same. There is no distinguishing the rice fields. They all be looking the same.
I hear it. I'm from, here in Virginia, we got tobacco
here to tell you,
fields.
I've been there. Those rice farms all look the same.
I don't know why all of a sudden I decided to sound like Johnny Cash, but here we are. Hello, I'm Johnny Cash. So she couldn't figure out. Thank you. She couldn't figure out where the heck she left Calloway's body, but eventually saw those two haystacks that I mentioned earlier, and she knew that was the place. Now, because of what happened, there were no clothes, there was no ID, so they couldn't ID Calloway's body, but Toni Jo remembered it and ID'd it. Before Burke was arrested, they asked Toni Jo who her accomplice was. Now, that's a hoot, because despite all that they went through, she never tried to learn his real name. She only ever knew him as Archie. But
maybe that was his name.
After seeing... Maybe. We'll get there. After seeing some photos, mugshots, she was actually able to pick him out. Now, Archie Burke was also known as John Rowe, Lloyd Adams, and get this, this is my favorite name ever that I have ever reported on in a case. Kermit Haygood.
Kermit Haygood?
Mm-hmm.
Why
Another family member?
No, my brain is thinking something about Haygood.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe the hay was good.
I don't know. That's why they call it the Rainbow Connection. It's the True Crime Wine Show. Yay! Kermit.
I know I was thinking of hay because you said there was two bales of hay. Hay good, bales of hay.
Hey.
Okay. I'm going to just shut up.
So what was his real name? His real name was Horace Burke. Not as fun as Kermit Haygood. Just going to toss that out there. However, I would love to form a law firm with him, Horace and Hosack. It'd be great. I love it. Yep. Okay. So Toni Jo Henry's trial for the murder of J.P. Calloway began in March of 1940. The judge, John T. Haig, notice that was just a month later or less. This is moving. This is moving. We're not effing around, as the kids say. The judge, John T. Hood, appointed local. Hey, listen, if a judge goes by all three initials, get the hell out of there because it's not going to be good for you. That's how I see it. Appointed local attorneys Clement Moss and Norman Anderson. Hello, Mr. Anderson, to defend Toni Jo. They said, hard pass. Hood said, nope, you're going to do it. They complained. He said, get over it. They lodged 4 appeals with the Louisiana Supreme Court, but the trial was...
That was not a request. That was, you're doing it.
Yeah, right? Like, this isn't a radio station. The judge doesn't call in to request a song. Like, you're doing it. Sam says, I realizing how Southern I am from the conversations and attempts being made. You're welcome.
Glad we could help out there, Sam.
All right. So the trial became a media sensation. We're talking 1940. People are always blaming nowadays for caring way too much or talking about it broadcast. No. It was just as bad then, if not worse. So the trial became a media sensation. It captivated the public because of the details and the contrasting image of how beautiful she was, yet how deadly she was. And what we are attracted to, and if it's dangerous, we like it. So, on the first day of the trial, 200 people crammed into that courtroom.
200?
200.
Wow.
So many that it was reported that one spectator was actually reported to be allowed to sit in the damn jury box.
I don't think that's allowed nowadays.
No. Defense attorneys said that the members of the public were actually like hanging from pipes in the courtroom to see. I imagine the pipes were on the side of the wall and they were just like hanging on them.
I hope
Now,
so.
her defense. Tell me if this next statement reminds you of any pop culture piece. Okay. Her defense attempted to portray her as a victim of circumstance, arguing that her tragic upbringing and toxic relationship with Claude Henry had driven her to commit the crime.
We just talked
Sound like
about
anything?
Yeah.
Well, that's true, but all I can think of is let's see. Oh yes, they both. Oh yes, they both reach for the gun. Oh yes, they both reach for the gun. Chicago.
Bonnie and Clyde?
That's all I can think of is the musical Chicago, because that's literally what they do with her.
That's one of the musicals I have not seen.
I
have not.
What? All right, everybody, head over to the courtyard, join, and we are going to do a live stream of us all watching Chicago. That's going to happen, and Teri's going to be a part of it. We will schedule it so you know, but join the courtyard.
Yes.
So yes,
because that's one I've not seen, and I've wanted to see it, and Double H doesn't want to see that one. He doesn't like the girl in it.
Beautiful. Yes, it's beautiful. So join the courtyard. It's great. It's awesome. Good people. That was actually one of my audition pieces, was that song.
Well, why don't you do it for us?
So one day I'll record it and then I'll just release it on here for the members. There you go.
Okay.
I'll record songs and release them for you all, and then you'll never want to be a member again. So her defense, like I said, portrayed her as a victim. However, the prosecution painted a different picture, depicting her as manipulative, cold-blooded, and who had willingly taken the life of an innocent man. And you know what? For a time, it worked. The defenses worked, and Toni Jo became a celebrity across the board. There were photos and news articles. Rumors went around like it was, Access Hollywood, that guards were spending a silly amount of time with her, if you know what I mean. However, yeah, that Sam said, I love Catherine Zeta-Jones. That is the same one. Yep, that's what I'm talking about. The cast is...
Yeah, that's who Double H doesn't like.
So, although generally everybody really liked her, and like her cell had like furniture and like a writing desk and like a lot of stuff in it. But not everybody liked her.
Besides her bed, like the bunks on the wall, she had like furniture, like a couch, a chair.
I don't know about couch, but definitely chair.
They liked her a lot.
Yeah, but not everybody liked her. As the jury walked into the courtroom, the 1940s crowd was hollering, "Hang her, hang that bitch," which that is quite scandalous for 1940s, as far as I know.
That's a lot back then.
Right? And here's where the trial gets difficult. Toni Jo and Burke just couldn't seem to agree on who shot Calloway. Imagine that. Right?
Well, they got to point fingers at each other.
Right. Just as long as they don't point at Trout, we'll be safe. So Burke's version, Burke said he was totally taken aback when Toni Joe's plan became apparent. Apparently, it was a kid before. Burke felt obligated to help her despite everything. So he felt he was obligated to help her rob the Arkansas bank. But Burke pretty much told her after the robbery of Callaway that he was going to go his separate way. He said Toni Joe saw that as a betrayal, and she was none too happy. Now, Toni Joe said it was Burke, but eventually she changed her tune, and she said she was the person behind the trigger. Now, when police asked her why she now decided to make a confession, Toni Joe told them, "I have nothing to live for. The man I love is in prison." And then she added, "Besides, Burke has a mother and I don't." Trying to drum up some
that just made my heart hurt for her.
And that's what she was going for. Remember, she stripped a guy naked and shot him in the head.
She still needs to be hung, but it doesn't mean my heart can't hurt for her. She's dying.
Fair. Despite the defense's efforts, the evidence against Toni Joe overwhelming. Burke's confession, along with the physical evidence, Joe's own inconsistent statements, sealed her fate. They didn't mount much of a defense at all in reality. They did try to argue that in the confession to police, she said she shot Callaway in the heart when he was in fact shot in the head. But as they say, that dog don't hunt and that pig don't fly. So, yep, didn't work. Now, J.P. Copeland, a friend of Callaway, joined the prosecution for this. That's what kills me. So J.P. Copeland, a friend of Callaway, the murdered man, joined the prosecution for this trial. Conflict of interest much?
I know. I'm like going, I don't think that's allowed.
So he also was able to address the court and said, "Nothing will satisfy me and the better class of people in Houston but the death penalty for this man and woman, nor can the manner of death be too severe." So, to that I say, damn! Yeah. The trial lasted a single day. A whole single day. After a brief deliberation, the jury found her guilty of first-degree murder, and she was sentenced to death. Now, the Supreme Court and governor stayed Toni Joe's execution multiple times, but no matter how many times, she was going to the electric chair. We're going to take a brief aside. And I wish I had another camera so I could just be like, let me talk to you over here for a second. The death row inmates in Louisiana, like I said, referred to the electric chair as gruesome Gertie. At first, when they made this the primary method of execution, they actually used to take that chair basically on tour, and it would go place to place, and it would just travel. And where they would execute would be either in the jail or in the court.
So it was like a road show of electrocution?
It was literally like a traveling death show. Yes, correct. Absolutely.
That I'm not okay with.
No. Now, I'm going to share this story with you because this is what happens when you have a traveling road show for executions. There was a absolutely horrifying experience where Willie Francis was being executed on May 3rd, 1946. The chair was improperly set up by a drunken prison guard. They flipped the switch, and Willie, instead of being electrocuted, was injured terribly, and he was screaming, take it off, let me breathe," from behind the leather hood. They stopped the execution, and while he did file an appeal with the Supreme Court, that sure as fuck wasn't going to work. It was denied, and he was later executed a year and 6 days.
So what happened to him? Did it just get hot?
I didn't look too far into it because that just wasn't my focus.
So
but it was a story where I was like, look how effed up this was. Yeah.
Well, yeah. That's like those traveling circuses or those traveling things where they travel and they just set up a Ferris wheel real quick and all these rides. You don't know what the junk carney's doing. Don't get on them.
It's true. I see a lot of them videos. I'm not not confident. So as Toni Joe waited for the day, she also would receive mail because even then we had folks that wanted to correspond. At times, she would get more than 200 letters from fans and detractors in a single day. That's a lot of mail.
That's a lot of mail.
Yeah. She had a lot of hours to fill, so she spent that time answering her mail. Not unlike Sarah Boone.
I was gonna say, sound like anyone?
Yeah. Yep. She also received visits from strangers who sympathized. In fact, there's a report of one person traveling all the way from San Francisco to see her, which that's dedication. Now, before her execution,
I mean, I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
Before her execution, she decided to sit down. She granted American Press's Elliot Chase an interview, and I'm gonna read you 3-4 snippets from this interview. She said, "I'm telling you, I shot Calloway because it's no good lying now. Burke didn't do it." And then she said, "It was like being drunk, real drunk. Have you ever pulled something when you were drunk and that something seemed the cutest, smartest thing in the world, but really it was the awfulest? Well, I was drunk with pressure, worrying about my husband." And then she said, "The victim does not return to haunt me. I never think of him. I've known all along it would be my life for this. I believe mine is worth as much to me as it was to him. I wonder, though, sometimes why it's legal now for another fellow to kill me." And finally, in addition, she talked about a radio show that she enjoyed watching, which was called Abel's Irish Rose. And she said she was concerned it would go on after her death. She said, I'm scared because I don't know where I'll be in September. And Abel's Irish Rose will go right on without me."
Seriously.
Oh, seriously, for sure. like,
What?
yeah.
The
I would be
hell?
doing a live trial watch of that for sure if it was a real thing. If it was now.
What the hell?
Right. So while she was in jail, Toni Jo also had, believe it, if you thought furniture was weird, she also had a little black and white dog with her during her time in jail. That's right. She had a dog. And right before her yep.
Okay.
Yep. She did. She had to arrange for someone to take care of the dog. So the dog ended up being sent back to Shreveport and somebody took care of her. I don't know who it was. All I cared about was that the dog was taken care of. When the time came, Toni Jo walked 22 steps to the electric chair. Her hair, which was sensationalized and aggrandized, people loved her hair. Like that was the thing, right? But
she was a
here's the
Southern
thing.
lady. She had good hair.
Yeah. You can't have hair if you're going to get electrocuted. So her hair was cut by the prison barber. Yep. She wore a white dress and had a crucifix made from ivory. Toni Jo had been visited by many, but none as often as Father Richard of the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception. He sat with her 3 times a week, and the priest didn't believe. I think the priest is probably on point with this one, where he didn't believe any of the rumors that were going around about her, about the prison guards and stuff. And this is why. And he says this. He says, she was passionately in love with her husband. She spoke of him often and wrote to him every day. And faithfully, he wrote her back. And I think that that's true. I think that she loved him so much that would not be happening.
Well, she could have just been using her womanly ways to get furniture, but that doesn't necessarily mean she was, committing adultery.
That's very true.
She could have just batted her eyes at him and got her way.
I think if I had womanly ways and I was in that situation, I'd be doing it.
I would be too. Especially
so Toni Jo was baptized Roman Catholic, finding jailhouse Jesus, as one is wont to say. Regarding her death, the priest said she wasn't afraid. She was pessimistic. She thought she didn't have a chance. Toni Jo went to the chair wearing a headscarf that Father Richard gave her to cover up her newly shaved head. She walked to the chair, looked Father Richard in the eyes, and said, "Goodbye, Father." Now, while in custody at Lake Charles, Toni Jo Henry sent the following letter to her sister. And you know what? For old time's sake, I don't think I have any music that actually would work for this, so we can't do it. I was going to play some music, but I don't, I don't think we have any music that maybe I do. Let's see. Let's go with that. There you go. That's fun. All right. Darling kids, honey, I'm sending you $5 to buy my baby a birthday present. Get her a coat or a skirt and a sweater. Tell her it's from me with oceans of love and kisses. Wish you had been here to help me eat goose and dressing. Gibbs went out hunting yesterday and shot 2 geese. Boy, were they some eating too. Did you make the kids their cake? I got a telegram tonight from Claude. He is at Huntsville. I sure feel 1,000 times better. You write to him at Box 32, Huntsville, Texas, and tell him what I told you to. Honey, I don't guess there's anything else to write, so I'll just say so long. You can write Gibbs and tell him if you get money, just write him Gibbs Duhon at the same address as when you wrote me. I'll be thinking of you all. Love and kisses, Toni. And that's the end of my case.
She was a bunny boiler. Love made her do some crazy things.
I think it did, and then along the way she found this which good for her. I think she found this confidence, and I think she used that confidence to do what she did. And then when she hit jail, where typically somebody would lose that confidence, the fact that she was so paid attention to and given so much attention, that just enhanced that or solidified that confidence, and that carried her all the way to Gruesome Gertie.
I mean, my initial thoughts, being a Southern lady, if I went all the way to Arkansas to rob a bank and you lied to me about that bank, I would not have pistol whipped you. I would have shot you right between the eyes, because that meant I couldn't get back to my man and break him out. The fact that she let him live.
She was pissed. She was pissed.
And she let him live. So that tells you she wasn't a totally cold-hearted. I mean, she was cold, but she didn't kill him.
I mean, I think he should be happy that he grabbed the one gun she had ammunition for, along with the other ones, and put it in the hat box, and all she could do was pistol whip him with the one she had because she didn't have any ammunition. So, what a story! What a story! It was a lot of fun to write. So
those are 2 good ones.
They were good ones. I like those. Well, I didn't like them, but they were good cases. Do you want to talk about the new stuff that's coming for the members?
I do. I'll tell some and then you can tell some. How about we can share?
We'll see if I can remember.
First thing, we are planning a happy hour where you will be all invited that are members, and it will be on a video meeting that will not be recorded, but we will be able to chat, hang out, have drinks, mocktails, whatever. So I'm excited about that. My new series, Dearest Mothers, will be released 1 week ahead. So before it even goes out to the public, that first week, members will get to see the episodes first, and they will always get it a week ahead.
Yes. In addition, I'm planning on doing some things. If you're a member, you noticed a members only post on our community page on YouTube, which means only you can see the messages. And I'm planning on doing some of those posts. Of course, we may do some like behind the scenes things. Maybe we'll release some bloopers, but the bloopers will probably be from the other shows that are pre-recorded versus these ones, because you see it all. You see it all. So you get all the good stuff.
Because I got a goat and things coming in. We also, I think we're doing this for members. It'll come out to members first, then we'll share it. I believe, I could be wrong, where we're going to bring your dad on to learn about
Yes.
you. And then we're going to either bring on Double H or my bestie, and you'll be able to ask them questions, any burning questions you have about us.
Yep.
That
So,
kinda scares
start
me.
writing those down. Start writing those down, and you'll have that option as a member to question old Daddy-O. So I've been looking forward
Then
to him coming back on, and I know he is too.
we have something in the works. I can just say that in 2025, there will be some in-person live shows. And if you're not in that city, but if you're a member, you will be able to see it. And
Yep.
that's all I can say on that.
You know how like Christmas, right? And I don't know if you're like this. Like I do enjoy, like I enjoy getting a gift, but I'm really bad at giving gifts because I always just want to give it to them. I don't want to wait. Like I want them to enjoy the gift. I want to see them open it. I want to, like I want that. This is where we're at. This is where we're at right now. It is. But just know this.
I have to keep
there are
telling
some
myself.
massive, awesome things coming. Yeah, right. I'm no good at it, but there are some huge things happening, huge things coming. As you can see, we are increasing our number of offerings, show wise. I promise you, Night Court is coming back. It is coming back. I am working right now on ideas and things for that. I think you will like it. But we've also got so much more happening, and it's going to be fantastic. 2025 is going to be the time of the wine. So we are super psyched about it.
I will be turning 55 in 2025. So we will have to plan something live celebration.
Live for 55.
Live for 55. So I'm excited. There is so much going on. And the fact that we're going to get to hang out together face to face more really makes me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to just go on the record and say, nope.
Captain says, I think that calls for a meth pinata.
Now, I will say that one of my things, and I've done it before, is I will have a pinata with all those small individual liquor bottles in them, because there's nothing more fun than watching drunk people hit a pinata and all the alcohol go and they all dive for it. I mean, it's better than kids.
In my entire lifetime, all 36, almost 37 years of this, I have never thought about filling a pinata with mini bottles of alcohol. And now that you have said this, I wish to gift this to everybody once I can afford it. So therefore, everybody become a member. That's really what I mean. I mean, the quicker we can build the channel, the quicker we can make this our full-time job, and the more we can give you. So yay!
We 55 and so beautifully alive and thriving. Yes. We have a lot of cool things. I have never been so excited for the end of a year in a new year, and we're only in August. I mean, we got a lot of work to do. I've never been
so excited to work with somebody and other people, but you who are organized, business focused, and ready to build something. So, ready to go.
We are ready to go. So I'm excited. And who knows, maybe we'll just give everybody goats. A goat for everybody.
I'd say no, but I'm all for it.
You're all for it.
I'm all for it. I could get behind it.
There'll be a second.
A pinata full of goats, Captain says.
I'm whispering, but there will probably be another goat in this household real soon. My mother-in-law.
You're the Oprah of goats. You get a goat, and you get a goat, and you get a
And
goat,
you
and
get
you
a
get to
goat,
check
and
under
you
your
get a
seat
goat.
because there's a goat.
So we have a
Well,
lot of cool things coming. I do want to warn people, though, my new series, Dearest Mother, is not going to be for everyone. And I hope nobody feels bad about saying that. It is not going to be for everyone. I don't get into all of the deep, dark details, but they are dark. So I just want to say that up front. You can love us and you can love everything. That doesn't mean you have to like that. I will not be
correct.
offended because even writing them and researching them, I have to take a break because they are dark. But I also think they're important because I'm finding there's a lot of mental illness and domestic violence involved in a lot of these cases.
Yes. And right after you and I do our sign off, I'll play that Dearest Mother, Darkest Secret one more time, that trailer, and then we'll,
Okay.
play the outro and call it. But for those of you who tuned in a little later and missed it, but you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, I will get the ball a rolling and say thank you all for tuning in to True Crime and Wine Time. Please take care of yourself, your friends, your family, and your community. Do not let anybody dull your sparkle, and shine on, you crazy diamonds.
And as always, be safe, watch out for crime, and enjoy your wine time or your bubbly time.
Or your truly time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
See you next time.